to San Joaquin, excuse me. Live with Kimberly show. I am super excited. Listen. So many times we hear about the negative. So many times we don't hear about the positive. So today, it is a pleasure and an honor to present to the community the 2019 National, say that again, National NAACP Organizer of the Year. I'm not going to say his last name because I really suck. Donavin.
Maszewski. Thank you.
He was awarded in the great city of Detroit.
I was. I was actually born in Detroit.
Really?
Yeah, Detroit is my city of birth.
Oh, wow.
By coincidence.
I don't believe in coincidences. No, I do not.
You know what?
Yes.
This has been a lot of talk about,
right.
Signs and things. So
right, that's destiny. So 2019 NAACP National Organizer of the Year, Mr. Donavin. We're gonna talk about it today.
All right. Okay.
Let's talk about it today.
All right. So thank you for that, and you shouted me out on Facebook, and I really appreciate that. It was
Absolutely.
very nice. I saw it. Somebody shared it to me. They took a screenshot.
Yeah.
Because I'm not on Facebook all the time, and I was like, oh, what? I was so surprised. I was like, what? It was crazy. That was very nice. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And so, all right, yeah. So recently I went out to Detroit, Michigan, for the 110th NAACP National Convention, and they have every year. There are for those of you who don't know, the NAACP is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. It is the largest and oldest civil rights organization on earth. So just put a little pin on there and just feel a little good about that. It's full of great people, litigators, educators, students, regular people, activists, and people who are trying to learn, people who are trying to grow, and people who fight for change and debate about things. Sometimes a little bit too much. Sometimes we're really happy to debate something for a long time, back and forth. But that's all right because that's how you make moves. And so I was contacted by Miss Bivens a while ago. A little bit beforehand, she was like, "Hey, I was in the woods at the time. I was working for the state of California, and I was literally in the middle of the woods." And she was like, "All right, so I want to nominate you for this award." And I was like, "Okay, thank you. That's very nice of you to think of me." I had no idea. I was like, "I'm not gonna get it. Who knows?" And then she contacted me later. She was like, "You're going to Detroit," and I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go."
That's huge.
So it's very awesome. I won I was awarded the Region 1 Organizer 2019 Organizer of the Year at the National Convention. And that felt really good. It was fun. I walked up on stage, boom, 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 got it, took pictures, boom, boom. It was a great time. But really, I want to do a quick disclaimer. Although I received that award, it's not an award for me. It's an award for Stockton.
Absolutely.
And for the NAACP out here and the leaders and the people who are working every day to get things going out here. Because I got it, but I'm just a common denominator. I'm a guy who you saw at this event and who was doing this and who was doing this also and who I just it wasn't me. It's everybody. It's my advisors. It's the other organizers in Stockton who worked with me to make this event happen, or who went out and helped me with voter registration, or helped me voter engagement, or want to build eco villages with me. It's all these different people in Stockton. So I just want to shout that out. Shout out the city. It's you guys. It's all of us together getting that award. It's not. My name is on there, but it's everybody.
So humbling, very humbling, and I'm glad that you brought that to the forefront. One of my main questions for you is this. Stockton, there was an article in the Record where Stockton was voted the least educated. Stockton gets a bad rap on crime. It gets a bad rap on homelessness and so forth and so forth. I think that we do not acknowledge and recognize the strength and the beauty of Stockton. And so being someone who is organizing in the community, you're in the trenches, you're in the forefront of change.
Deep in there.
Deep in there. I just saw you this weekend, once again, organizing and working in the community. What do you say about that? What would you say to this misperception? Because I think that, again, we don't recognize the beauty of Stockton as much as we should.
Well, I have a lot to say about that. That's one of my favorite topics. When people come into town, or I have some friends who like come from out of town, or people that I work with, and like they're not from here, and then they heard a little bit about the town. They're like, "Oh, I heard, shots every night. What's going on? And I'm like, "Oh, hold on. Let me tell you about the rest of the city. Like, let me give you the truth about it, because we have a lot of beautiful history here.
Absolutely,
we have a lot of diversity. We have a beautiful population. We have a lot of arts. We have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot of new businesses popping up left and right. We have a lot of young entrepreneurs. We have a lot of spirit, I feel like, in this city. We also have like a lot of great athletes coming out of Stockton. I mean, that's one thing that is not, I feel like, always recognized. And somewhere I ran across this, it wasn't quite a museum, but it was like an archive of athletes out of Stockton. And the wall was large. It was like, like a whole room, boxers, football players, like everybody. So we have a lot in this city. Downtown is being redeveloped. You look at it now, right? Look at it 10 years ago, look at it today. Like, you're like, I'm seeing some difference here. And to anyone, like, if you ask me like what I think about Stockton and my response to sometimes a more negative narrative being portrayed, as like the forefront of like what Stockton is, I would challenge that. I would ask you to come out to one of the cooperative meetings that I go to, where we have community members just gathering, literally just on love. People coming out like literally just like, well, I want to create something. I want to build. I want to better my city, or I want to generate more for my business, or I want to work with this guy. Like, we want to collaborate. We want to do something. Let's put up a mural downtown.
Right.
Let's make a track. Like, let's like whatever. You know what I mean? And so there's really like a lot of movement and a lot of love and a lot of energy and a lot of like, I think, beauty in this city. And sometimes that gets overshadowed, and I think that's very unfortunate. I'm very happy to see though that I feel like recently, especially, we've been seeing a lot more positive things about Stockton. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things like about like the Voice of San Joaquin, right? I mean, that's another it's a nonprofit, an organization, a group of people that are like, well, let's operate on like love and like good principles. Let's do for our city and create something. And now, like, here we are. Now I'm sitting at this microphone. I'm talking to you about other people and things like that. So if you really look at it, guys, like there's a lot to see here, and a lot of positive creation, I could say. I just want to address the other thing you said about like least educated, right?
Yes.
Now, in terms of education, I know it's true that the way you think of yourself and the way you perceive yourself is very, very impactful. Do you read, like, have you heard of Malcolm Gladwell?
No.
Okay, so Malcolm Gladwell, he's kind of like I don't want to say he's mainstream, but he's a sociologist.
Love sociologists.
And right, very interesting. And he's an author, and he writes. I think one of his big books was like Outliers, but he has this book called Blink, and it's a book about intuition. But in the book, he gives this reference to this study, this experiment that was done, and basically they had they had two groups of. They went to an HBCU, and they had two groups of the students, and they gave them a test. One of the groups of students was given a short questionnaire, like literally 30 seconds before the test, like circle one type questionnaire. And on there they asked their race. It's an HBCU school, so it's like 99% of the students are going to answer African American. And that group of students that answered and was reminded that they were African American performed less. Their test scores were lower, because of the negative association with academic achievement and being African American.
Wow.
So just the reminder that they were black made them perform worse, and the experiment was repeated over and over again. It was conclusive evidence. And when I read that, I was like, I mean, we already know this, but like now, like after I read it, I knew, and I was like, wow. And it made me think about
the mindset
and how important that is. Literally, just they're in the school, they're already students there. They're of the same or better academic achievement. Or achievement, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As the students in the next room.
Right.
But because of that, literally just this psychological, like this little reminder of this, and these negative associations, they performed worse. And so I would say for anyone in Stockton and for students in Stockton, do not say that you're from a city that can't perform well. Don't say you're from a city where kids don't go to college. Don't think about these things. Don't listen to that narrative, because that is false. And more than anything, it is damaging to you. Change that by doing better. Don't even all it can do is hurt you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I see people every day working. I have a friend of mine. Her name is Kyra Brown. Shout out. And she works to tutor and educate kids every day. and it's her passion. She goes in South Stockton. She goes down by I was gonna say by I forget the area. Oh wow, I don't know why these streets are escaping me. But she basically she's in the community and she's tutoring kids, and when they get that good energy, when they're told that they're smart, they do well, and that's the same for anywhere. The only reason why like you see the city performing worse is because we're more or less because we're not supported and we're told that we're performing worse, and we can change that. Like that power is within our hands, and I'm glad to see that there are a lot of groups. There's a bunch of young women who I met with a while ago with this group grad. They're creating this mentorship program for youth, and to basically counteract exactly what I was saying. Having people who are professionals and educators who can work with them and talk to them and show them that they can achieve more and give them the skills and encourage them, because that is the most important aspect, that encouragement to do better. There's Stockton Scholars, which you were talking about, the work that I was doing this weekend
right
at Van Busker. That was Stockton Scholars was hugely present out there. So what I'm saying is that there's a lot of positive movement and construction for youth achieving well academically, and
empowering, inspiring. And you're so right. And what you said just really resonated in my heart. Just someone who, number one, is in the community. I'm a licensed clinical therapist, so I talk a lot about mindset and how to alter that mindset. I think that it's very important that we do highlight and we do recognize the growth and the strength that is coming out of this community. So this weekend, I got accepted to USC. Right?
Snaps. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This is huge.
Yeah, that is no small achievement.
Right. Huge.
Do it.
And I did not pay to get accepted.
Ooh, you heard it?
3.75 GPA. Anyway, so, the first thing I did when I got that email is I brought my kids to the living room. I said, guess what, everyone? Like, what? I was like, Mom is going back to school. Mom is going to school to get her PhD. They were like, oh my God, yay, we are so proud of you.
Dr. Warmsley.
Dr. Warmsley.
I love it.
Right. And so we started, thank you.
That's fantastic.
But the strength in that conversation was, number one, so my kids can understand and recognize that they can do whatever it is that they want to do. And two, to encourage and empower them themselves. Because when I saw that article about the academic achievement here, I was a little troubled by it, because I thought about just what you said, like, what mindset do we create to our youth when they read articles like that? And this is no shade towards the person who wrote that article or whatever. No shade at all. I'm merely stating is, if we see that those numbers are real, then what are we doing to create a solution to empower and encourage and inspire not only youth, but parents, to take the steps so that parents can understand how to motivate and inspire. And not everyone is college material. I get that. But what about vocation? What about career building?
Exactly.
What about just, looking for avenues to support and encourage our youth? I just don't think we highlight those successes as much as we should.
Not at all. And it's beautiful when we see that happening. But wherever there's a lack of it, or you see people having a different conversation, I think it's important to step in and be like, well, hold on. What can we do, actually? So we're talking about this, but what can we do?
Yeah. And like you were saying, we had a small conversation on the sideline. Like, when I saw that you got that this achievement and this recognition, my biggest thing was, you know what? We have to support Donavin, because number one, we need to make sure that he knows that we support him, that this community and the city loves him, and that we are shining this story, not necessarily like to shine you as a person, but that hard work that you have instilled in this community. Because there's other little Donavins that's in the background.
I see them.
Right? You see them that are looking up to you in order for them to be motivated. Like my son, my 11-year-old son, is always looking up to people. Wow, You know,
That's beautiful. He's seeking inspiration.
seeking inspiration.
That man will grow. He will be a leader.
That's right. So we're pulling each other up. And then for you yourself, as you continue this journey called life.
It's a long journey.
It's a long journey.
It's crazy.
But what will you do with these skill sets? What's your next move?
Well, what is my next move? That is a great question, Kimberly Warmsley. And
Make it the best move.
Make it the best move. I feel you entirely. Well, my next move. I mean, I plan like right now. There's okay. So let me break it down a little bit. Let me tell you what I'm doing a little bit.
All right.
So in the community side, there's group Surf, who you may have heard of, and it's a bunch of
yes,
young. How do I describe it? I guess really just like activists and people in Stockton that love the city and who work in different organizations who do things like how you saw me like last week, like out, cleaning up trash in the park. People who like will go out and like get dirty, and just people who are like in the city making it better. And so I'm excited to learn more about them and see how I can be involved there. There's a group, Stock Solid, a cooperative, which is made up of smaller cooperatives who I'm working with. Some names I want to throw out there. Evan Haynes, shout out
to Evan.
Yes, for real. Queen Raja, Jazzy, all of them. And I'm very excited to work with them. Yeah. I love anytime I meet with that group of people. There's always good energy in the air, and it's attractive to me. Good energy. It makes me feel like it makes me want to build. It makes me want to have a conversation. And I feel like it's infectious.
Right. And they're consistent and they're dedicated and they're loyal to the community. I see y'all. Shout out to Jazzy. I see y'all. Y'all out there really, setting the bar too. Setting the bar to collaborative work, of which has not been that.
It's not always pushed. Yeah. Working together is not always like the first thing that everyone.
Yeah.
We hear about it, but like it doesn't always happen, and like sometimes we're like, well, I'd rather not, unfortunately.
Like that person.
But exactly, but it's getting past those things. That's
like
all
that.
Look, guys, take your ego. Yes. Take your ego. Put it away. Do you need it? Do you need your ego? Like no. You don't. Like you don't. Who's it helping? Is it helping you? No, nope. It's not. Is it helping your community?
Nope.
No, it's not. Is it helping your brother and sister? Like, no, it's not. So like, put it away. Think about how you can work together. Honestly, and that's that energy that the Stock Solid group always has, and I very much appreciate them for that, and I'm happy to work with them. We have there's one initiative that they're pushing, and that I work in. It's the Eco Village group, and the concept is like our end goal is to create a how can I explain? Basically, it's more or less a self-sustaining, like a farm, more or less like a farm that you can live on. Generates its own power. You generate your own materials, your own food. You have your own water. Like you basically don't like. It's a community that doesn't need to interact with nobody else. I mean, of course we would want to, but I'm saying like in terms of like sustainability and like security, it's good.
Yeah.
And so we're working our way toward that. That's that's hard to do a little bit, especially for like me. Like I've never done that before. I've never done anything like that.
Right.
I've cut down trees and I've planted trees, but I've never like built a farm before. So that's a new experience. I'm very happy to be working on that and learning about it. And so on our way toward that, we have these community garden initiatives, these tiny home plans. We're making our way, baby steps toward there. And I'm very happy to be working with them. And I look forward to doing more, and seeing where we get to in the next few months. As far as school, I don't know if you know. You do know because you see me there.
Yes.
I attend San Joaquin Delta College.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I'm out there. I'm getting my education.
Listen, I started at Delta College.
I
started at Delta.
Sure did. So Delta College, there's I've heard like a lot. I would say mixed reviews. Some people talk well about it. Some people talk poorly of it. I'm gonna tell you guys, bro. Like any place, Delta College is what you make of it.
Say that again.
It's what you make. If you want to go in there and like get your classes out of the way, get your degree, make some connections. I made a lot of great connections in the community through that college, through the radio station there, and through the drama department. Oddly,
oh really?
I met a lot of people.
I could see that.
Correct. That extra spirit. They're out there. and just like, like the college, the campus is what you make of it, you guys. So you can really do a lot there.
And they have some outstanding programs.
They do.
They have outstanding programs, outstanding services. I started at Delta, and you know what? When I got my bachelor's degree from CSU Stanislaus, shout out to CSU Stanislaus.
Shout out Stanislaus.
It didn't say, oh, she went 2 years to Delta. It didn't say that.
It's not. Yeah, that's not.
So it's really the starting framework to higher success, and I appreciate my experience. But you're absolutely right. It's what you make of it, and just embedding yourself in your educational journey.
So on that note, I think currently I have 48 units completed there. And so what I'm trying to getting close. So I'm trying to get my when I first go, okay, so I went to that school, and when I first got there, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be an engineer for sure. Right. And then I took an engineering course, and I was like, I might not be an engineer. And then I took an environmental science course, and I was like, oh, I love environmental science, and I started learning about that, and which is still very much a passion of mine. And then I got into radio television, and I was like, you know what, radio journalism is where I'm going to be. It's going to be the platform. And in each one of these, I've gained like a lot of knowledge, and I'm grateful for the experiences and the people that I've met. But for me, it's kind of like I'm bouncing around to these different, or I had been, I should say, bouncing around to these different avenues and pathways, which is not necessarily great for one pathway to success. Young people tend to do it, and you guys, I would love to say that in 5 years, like, no person will ever change their major 2 years in, but the chances are that's not going to stop happening. People will probably still do it because we're human, and life is a journey.
Allow that major in your passion, you will fall into it. It happens. I got 7 degrees from Delta, 7 majors, and once again, it's like you were saying, you kind of.
That's fantastic. You got a degree. That's fantastic. Honestly, that's great.
Listen, first I went to criminal justice, then I went to psychology.
That's beautiful.
Then I went to child development.
That's wonderful.
Then so Kimberly,
it's like,
Warmsley, listen.
My hands is like slick.
Listen, let it fall into you. It will find you. But I kind of sense this environmental justice. And Donavin has such a great personality. So
I'm okay. I'm okay.
I can see you on the air. I can see you doing that. You have to have a personality.
Yeah.
You do.
I believe it.
So you're very animated. So that is.
Thank you.
That's a plus. But whatever you do, you just continue to move in your direction. And then, hey, I'm a religious person, but I'm also a spiritual person. So go wherever the wind blows you to, because it will.
I got you. Hey, look, I feel you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'm telling you.
I've been realizing that lately. I think I've been feeling like I've been getting a lot of like. My intuition has been active, I should say, and I feel like this is kind of I don't know if you like meditate, but I don't know if any of the listeners meditate. But one thing that I like to do is I feel like I like to have a conversation with my environment. Right. And that sounds kind of strange. No. But it really just means being like present and listening to yourself, your own intuition. Like Detroit, I had a lot of things going on in town, wow. Especially like during the weekend that I went out there, and a lot of like scheduling conflicts. And I was originally not planning to go because I was like, oh, I'm so honored to have this. I was like, but would it be a bad idea to go out there, under the I mean, basically, I don't want to leave things that I have going on in town unattended. Is what I was thinking. But a few different people were like, "Hey, come out," and they were just trying to get me out there. And so, and then some time passed, and then it happened again. So I was like, this feels like, this seems like a sign. I'm gonna go, and it's great. I made a lot of great connections out there. I met a lot of youth who were working in different parts of the country, other youth councils, youth presidents. Adults too asked me this. So like, what are you guys doing in your city? Like, what you got this award? Like, what do you do? And I just shared with them, and we got that, that energy, that back and forth, make connections. And that's how you build, really. So I think that was definitely that was the right move, and I'm glad I listened to myself. And not just to myself, but spirit, like energy out there. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah, there's that.
And that's so good to consult with other communities and cities to see the things that are going on and how they were successful. But I'm very, you got to talk to me a little more offline about this eco-friendly
Eco-village.
communities that you guys are building. I think that's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. That really excites me.
Yeah. Especially, everything that's going on with PG&E.
Look.
I know everybody got that letter in the mail saying that they're bankrupt now.
I worked for,
but they're asking for a raise. It's like, what is going on?
I worked for the California Conservation Corps for 6 months. That was the last 6 months. That's where I've been, and so I actually haven't been in town as much as I could have been. And so like if you haven't seen me some places, that's why. But every time I do get back, like something's going on, like there's an event or someone needs help, and I'm like, all right, look, so I'm tired, but let's go ahead and let's go do this. But in that, we're also like emergency responders, right? To natural disasters, so to a fire, to a flood, an earthquake, or like a great food shortage, or anything that's considered like an emergency by the state of California, we respond to, so long as we're qualified, which for most of them we are qualified to assist. We're qualified to assist in some way. So like there was a fire in
Paradise.
So we were at the Paradise Fire. I was not there, but there was more recently one outside of Napa. I forget the name of the actual like the specific location. And I was with a group of people that responded to that. I'm not a qualified firefighter, so I wasn't in the fire spraying the trees, but I was like helping out. And so, but one thing that like people, like townspeople, I've been hearing them. Everyone's like, so PG&E, like, so, what's going on with them? What are they doing? How did that, because there's a bit of an intersection between what they do and what we do in terms of taking responsibility and responding to natural disasters. But I mean, I guess I'll leave that like where it is.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother conversation with that.
Yeah.
But needless to say, this just adds even more to your resume in your street cred in regards to the things that you have done, and God bless you for that. And God bless you for the things that you will do.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just at the beginning, you guys. I'm early in my journey. We're really going to go to the moon, like right here. Like I promise you. Together as a community. We're all
right. And let me just tell you, you heard it first on the Live with Kimberly show at 10:51 a.m. Your destiny is so much bigger than what you know.
Oh, thank you.
It really is. And I am just so very proud of you because, again, you have your hands in multiple projects. And as an organizer, I'm sure that there's not a lot of checks that come after that, right?
I wish there was.
There's not a lot of zeros in those types of checks. And a lot of times, true organizers who are genuine do this out of the kindness of their heart because they see the issues and they want to change the narrative. And so, again, we appreciate that.
I want to shout out with that. I mean, I want to give a huge, I'm sure she's going to watch this, to Lawanda Vivens. Mrs. Vivens, you definitely seen me since I was literally like a young little 5-year-old with just huge hair and probably chocolate stains on my shirt. I probably didn't know what was going on. But she's seen me, and she always was very ready to like mentor me and give me opportunities and put me in the right place. And so I have a huge appreciation for you. Shout out. She's my advisor and who nominated me for this award.
Right.
So I just have a huge appreciation for you, Mrs. Bivens. And thank you. I mean, I would definitely not be doing what I'm doing today were it not for her. So.
Right on. You got to give what else you want to talk about? We still got some time.
Well, you can tell me about your doctorate. You can tell me about Dr. Warmsley.
Listen, that is a huge honor.
Give me the lowdown.
So I will be attending USC, University of Southern California. Majority of my work is going to be more technical, so I can do my work here in Stockton and
Fantastic.
Just kind of travel.
Okay.
Shout out to the mayor because of his efforts. We do have a United airline that is launching in August.
That is wonderful.
So this kind of fits right into my day-to-day
Perfect for
schedule
you, huh?
because
Wow, I
can
just
fly,
thought about that.
I can fly back and
Go
forth to
straight
school.
there. Wow.
So,
I did not think. I just
yeah. So I'm excited.
I can go see my sister.
Back at right.
Yeah, come back. Yeah,
Hey,
let's
45
go.
minutes.
Back to Stockton. Fantastic.
So I'm excited because my concentration will be about policy and the implementation of policy. Many people do not understand or know that
Educate us.
creating policy is something that I like to actually do. And so it's going to fit into my my journey as I continue to progress in the community. So I'm excited about that. So in 2 years, I will be Dr. Kimberly Warmsley. Perfect timing because I'm just a year in of having my license as a clinical social worker. So
That is great timing.
Yeah.
Tell me about that policy. Creating policy is something that you'd like to do. Tell me about that.
So
Tell us.
Right. So I'm also on the resolution committee for the California Democratic Party. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Ooh.
a lot of people don't know that. I don't really talk about that a lot. I should, but
She's
I don't.
so humble, you guys. It's
I
ridiculous.
don't. So creating policies, like we're going to be crafting some policy on renter control because the rent's too high.
It's bad.
People
The
can't
rent is
afford
too
to pay their rent. Talking about what's going on the borders and how people are treated. Recently, I went to Marysville and we did a demonstration about the kids in those institutions and the treatment of them. Oh, and then last but not least, I don't talk about this a lot, but I'm really, really stoked about this. Creating the proclamation, making Stockton a city that is trauma informed.
Okay.
So that has been recognized by the mayor about a month ago. So doing a lot of work in educating people about what is trauma and how we should deal with people and treat people who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, victims of crime, survivors.
Wow, we need
that.
That's going to go a long way, I think.
So I'm working on a few other levels, the county level and state level.
Ooh, guys.
In pushing that.
This is our champion right here. I promise you.
Yeah. So this experience with USC and getting my doctorate in policy is going to help me be more sufficient. And I would like
to expand the breadth of your wings.
Exactly. And I will also say that I'm also in the process of something very major in collaborative treatment.
Okay.
And last but not least,
collaborative treatment. I love that term.
Yeah, collaborative treatment. Because again, in order to really provide effective and efficient treatment, it has to be on a collaborative process.
For sure.
So I'm also working with a very esteemed physician and psychiatrist in crafting an up-and-coming nonprofit that I'm not going to speak too much about. Sure. But I will say it'll be innovating, it'll be collaborative, and it'll be very transparent as in how we are treating people who are facing trauma. And again, trauma is anything that has caused you emotional distress. So we're not only talking about people who have been victims to death as a result of their trauma, but people who have survived their trauma, which sometimes those populations aren't, we don't infiltrate and support those populations as much because we'll say, oh, they're they survived, they're good. But we're not providing them inclusive treatment.
Right. They survived with scars.
Yeah. Emotional and physical.
Those are affecting them.
And it affects them. So
and grow ultimately like the greater community, you know what I mean? It's all of us. That's wonderful. I love that mindset and that mentality. Honestly, I think I was talking literally to my dad about this like a while ago, how we need like specifically more of that.
Yeah.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
So she's like, no, I don't.
Yeah. No, very well.
And we were like discussing that, and I basically I came to the realization, but I was thinking about that if in terms of like wellness, if we thought of how to like improve our city and how to help people more Just like, how do we maintain that? Like, what's, if you I feel like if you apply that to somebody, then if you like look at someone in whatever position they're in, however they're feeling, their behavior, their economic situation, their education, whatever's going on with them, where they work, like how they feel and live daily, the way that they treat other people. If you apply that kind of that scope through like that hierarchy, then you can see, like, I feel like more clearly what they need and where they need it. With that collaborative approach, then you can better address that. So like, I feel it 100%.
So Donavin he just got the gold star. I don't ever give up the gold star.
The gold star?
This is the gold star.
Thank you.
Interviewee, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Tell you why. That is my analogy I use in treatment.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Is it really?
Yes, I promise you.
That is
so
fantastic.
I don't like to talk about dead guys, but I will.
Okay.
Maslow is a dead guy, and I don't really like theorists, but this is my favorite theory, so that's why I'm smiling.
Okay.
So the hierarchy is just this. So at the bottom is food, shelter, love, belonging, a sense of security, self-esteem, self-actualization. That's at the top.
I love
right?
that.
So the only time we can self-actualize and know who we are is if everything else under it is being met. So when someone comes to see me for therapy,
okay,
and they say, I'm depressed, I have trauma, and I have anxiety, I'm like, okay. But I'm also homeless. I'm also living in poverty. I also don't have a family system. I also don't have a sense of who I am. I also don't, love myself and have poor self-esteem. Immediately, as a provider and as a therapist, I say, I cannot start any form of treatment in terms of therapy without addressing,
of course,
the poverty,
right,
the security, the sense of belonging, et cetera, et cetera. So that framework is essential, what Maslow was talking about, in order to even begin to support anyone in anything. Because you're living in unsafe living conditions with no food.
right.
How are you even going to be talking about, yes, Kimberly, I feel this way and I feel that way. I feel that way.
It does not
It cannot happen.
Can't.
And so that's why I am a champion and a voice for equity, for access. If we don't have equity in terms of jobs, there's nothing else to talk about. If we don't have access to safe shelters, there's nothing else to talk about.
No.
If people don't have access to even the fundamentals of being loved, there's nothing that we can talk about.
We're gonna
Does that
work
make
together.
sense?
We're gonna. It's
Absolutely.
inevitable.
See,
I'm
go
very
star,
excited.
go star.
I'm very
He gets
happy
a good
right
star.
now. I'm feeling good.
But I'm so glad. I'm just like really about to fall out my chair. That is that is my theory that I use in treatment.
That's beautiful. Do you know what that's
yeah.
that's what we were talking about, like signals, like science. I thought about it. And I was like,
Hey, how do you
manifestation.
feel about tacos?
I love them.
Oh, okay. So double gold star because
yeah.
everybody
Tacos
knows
are the way to go.
Miss Kimberly loves tacos. Tacos every day.
That's life. Taco Tuesday is every day.
Taco Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday is a certain type of taco, but Wednesday.
I love them. Just not in the morning though, because like I'll eat it. I forgot that it had onions in it.
Oh, damn.
So yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
I had tacos today.
It's so funny. I was talking to my administrator, and I couldn't find anybody to go to Taco Tuesday with me last week. So when he comes in, I was like, "Hey, Tino, are you hungry?" He was like, "Yeah, I got something. Yeah, I'll take something." I was like, "It's Taco Wednesday." He was like,
Let's go.
I was like, "Okay, no problem."
True. Yeah.
All right, so you got to tell me top taco place in Stockton.
Top. Well, that's a question. All right,
deep
look.
question.
Listen, I don't even know the name of the truck, but there's a burrito. Like, any of you have talked to any of my friends, I'll tell you, Donavin, the burrito truck. He's the guy. He'll find them wherever they are.
Let us hear it.
But there's one that's down toward Arch Road. I feel like it's like a white and red truck. I don't know the name of it, unfortunately. But if you ever go down by Arch Road toward like County Office of Education, it's right. It's like parked right there, and you go see it. Like, but that's the truck.
Yeah.
And they without a doubt have the best burritos and tacos. Fire, just so well cooked, so seasoned. The juice is like, it's like the onions were sauteed and they just put the cilantro in. Just perfect. It's delicious.
Sounds so good.
Really good.
I have to go check it out on Thursday. So I'm actually going to be doing some consulting and work for Office of Ed.
Oh, well,
starting
then
on
you gonna be down
Thursday,
there.
so I'm a mosey down there and grab me.
I promise you.
A burrito.
Let me
and
know.
Tacos.
Let me know
I
how
will.
it goes.
I'll tag you on Facebook.
Oh yeah, smooth. That's fantastic.
Anyone else you can think of that you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, yes, I can. So, well, also let me shout out let me shout out my family because
don't forget your mama.
Because I love them, and
Dad.
they are very supportive. Like my parents, like my dad especially very like I before even well, along with Mrs. Bivens, I think my dad, like he brought me into community spaces and working, but like the concept of like, all right, here's a person and here's me, and we don't really know each other, but we're gonna work together to accomplish like this means
common ground. Yeah.
And for him, it was like a regular energy. Everyone he would interact with, like, already knew that, like, oh, Gov, what's up? Like everybody that he would run into would have that energy, and so I became very familiar with that, and was able to, like, I guess more or less emulate that sort of like that energy, and so have that sort of like collaborative mindset with just the people around you. And like in building the community. Honestly, if a week goes by and I'm like, what did I do outside of like studying and like working out and maybe I went, going to work, of course, and making money. If I didn't like, did I build anything? Did I learn anything? Did you know what I mean? Did I help my community? And if the answer is no, then I feel like unsettled. I'm like, I don't feel like right. It's like I feel like I'm missing something and I'm not. There's something that's like left undone. Like if you're at home and like there's dishes in the sink. Or like you didn't like tell somebody something, like it feels like that. So I'm like, oh, I gotta go, and I want to appreciate and shout out my dad, Governor
the Gov,
Don Maszewski,
the Gov, yes,
for instilling that within me. I definitely appreciate that. Thank you, Dad. Also, in terms of the Stock Solid group, Evan Haynes, I met him. The group is a lot of people. It's a lot of people, but the first person I thought of was him. I met him actually at this very radio station months, I think almost a year ago, or it might have been a year ago,
right?
And there was this huge meeting going on. I forgot what was happening exactly. Oh, it was this. We were meeting together because we wanted to tell Stockton stories. We wanted to and it's still one of our initiatives, but we were meeting because we wanted to basically create our own narrative and share genuine, actual stories. Like you said, those people who are survivors but aren't getting addressed. We wanted to hear what they have to say.
Right.
And things like that. And so, because we really have Stockton has a lot of history. We have a lot of history.
Yes, we do.
And a lot of unique stories, and people. And so we're like obviously we see this. So, because we're the people who are out there, in there. And so let's gather around and see how we can tell that story rather than letting someone else tell it for us and make us shine like not at all.
Right.
So that was kind of the idea for that. And it was a big group of people, tons of energy. And I met him, and he's a very tall guy. So he had like a lot of like, when someone's like really tall, like you're like, all right, so what's up? Like I'm interested. What's going on over here? How's the weather, bro? What's up? But he just was instantly had like beautiful energy, very, very welcoming. Very
well mannered and respectful.
Super kind too.
Yes.
Like a very kind person, who will like sit and listen to you. Like, what's good, bro?
Right.
And so like I just appreciate him for that, and I feel like he's very encouraging to me, and I mean to everybody, but like I shout out Evan. I appreciate you. Let's see. Oh, this is Shania Larkin. She's a friend of mine. And I think she's like relatively new to like volunteering and like being very like active in her community, but I met her definitely a little over a year ago, and since then she's just like boom boom boom. Like every time I see myself doing something, I look on her stuff or her pages, or I talk to her, and she's doing the same thing.
Right on.
And so Shania,
right on, we're
gonna get together and we're gonna work on some projects together, obviously, and especially now that I said it out loud, like we can't not do it at this point.
Yes.
So shout out to her. Who else deserves shout outs? So many people. There's no shortage of names
Right.
and numbers out there.
And sometimes I don't like shout outs because then if you don't say
If you don't shout out
yeah.
somebody, then they're like, well, hey, why didn't you shout out?
Right.
Bro, look, I didn't think about you. I'm sorry.
Listen, don't blame my heart, blame my mind.
There we go. The memory, you can only remember so
I'm
much
telling
in a moment.
Right. So we'll move forward from the shout outs. Your people know what's up.
They feel that energy.
They feel that energy.
High key. Well, wait, no, I have another one. Brianna Allen, who was the president, who is she's the president of the NAACP Stockton Youth Council. She's a magnificent president, a magnificent speaker, a great mind. She is, we talk about the wildest things, and the realest things too. Things that conversations, some people some people you can really talk with. I mean, she's always on that level. So I appreciate her for that. In this convention, we were like a team. We go to this meeting, hit this workshop, talk to these people. And so she performed very well this national convention. It was her first.
Right on.
And she is definitely a great leader, a future woman in charge. 100%. I would follow her.
100.
So yeah, shout out to you, Brianna.
Love it. Well, Donavin, I appreciate you coming on. Short notice.
Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me. I was shook. I was like, oh, yes, for sure. I would love to talk about whatever.
Like 5 seconds, y'all. You responded back in 5 seconds.
Yeah, I was like,
seriously,
let's go.
Right.
I was very excited.
Well, we're excited for you. The community supports you. We love you. We'll be watching you.
Thank you.
And supporting you 1,000%. Whatever you need, let us know. Especially now that I know that you know Maslow's. Call me.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Tacos too.
Look, let's literally go get tacos. Like I'm really down. I'm really down to go get tacos.
Tacos. Join us next week, same time, same place, same radio station. Unfortunately, with a new exciting topic. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a good week. Remember, the Voices of Joaquin is a nonprofit collaborative, meaning that we rely on donations from you in order to continue to bring you this platform. So if you find it in your heart, reach back and send us a donation. And I would also like to, because it's right in front of me, to also invite you all to our music, culture, and food festival happening August 11th at the waterfront. Starts at 10 o'clock. Kids who are 12 and older are free. Anyone over that is a charge. We'll have food, festivities, car shows, activities. Come and see some of your favorite Voices of Joaquin commentators, like Live with Kimberly. Hope that I'm one of your favorite ones.
And I can attest to this, the Chicano Community Radio program, or Chicano Community Radio Reunion. I've been there last year. It's lit. It's a great time, honestly, for families. Like, it's just a really fun time. There's beautiful cars, tons of food, great performers, really good energy the whole time. It's just like if you have a family, or even if you just want to go by yourself, like, it's just a great time. You're gonna have fun, I promise you. So
come through, and we will. I think we're gonna have a booth, and I don't know. I think we're doing snow cones or something. I don't know. I just go where I'm told. That's it. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. Donavin might be slinging some too. I don't know. Anyway, we will see you next week, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good one. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and have a nice day.